Hello, fifth graders. I'm checking in today with Chapter 5, Lesson 4, Hands-on, Add Decimals Using Base 10 Blocks. You can draw this or feel free to go to the drawer and get the base 10 blocks. If you'd rather do it physically, that's totally fine too. So we're thinking about how can we use place value and properties to add and subtract decimals. What does it really mean when we're adding decimals anyway? What are parts of a whole? Let's take a look at that. In our first question, Ruben downloaded 2 ringtones to his cell phone. One cost him $1.30 and the other one was discounted to 50 cents. How much did it cost for both ringtones? Well, first of all, before we get started, let's just remember, let's not use the highlighter, that $1 is the same as 100 cents. $1 is the same as 100 cents. That's why right here we could use a base 10 block of 100 to equal $1. So these are dollars. These are like dimes, right? The tenths. And these are like nickels when we're talking about the hundreds. Does that sound right to you? Yeah. Okay. So I should say these could be nickels or pennies, because if you have less than 5, it's not a nickel, right? Okay, so let's move on. First of all, we're going to model $1.30 by putting 1 whole, a hundreds block, and 3 tenths, 10, 20, 30. And are there any hundreds? Nope. And then we'll model the 50 cents, no wholes, but we have 5 tenths, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. So how many tenths are there in all? Well, we have 5 here, 6, 7, 8. There are 8 tenths. Okay, so, and we have only 1 whole. So that is 1 whole and 8 tenths. We'll put the 0 to represent 0 hundredths since it's money. Ruben spent $1.80 on ringtones. Oh, I hope he got some good ones. How could we estimate this in another way to check for reasonableness? Well, if we estimate to the nearest dollar, 1.3 rounds to 1, and half rounds to 1 because 5 is 5 or higher, right? Okay, and that's a total of $2, and $2 is roughly $1.80, I should say, is roughly congruent or about the same as $2. So this checks. This was a good strategy for us. Now in our next one, we're going to think about what to do if we have more than 9 tenths. It gets a little funky there, so let's take a look. I'm going to change colors real quick. Here we go. Let's use purple this time. So we're finding 1.42 plus 0.87 using base 10 clocks. So modeling our first one, we have 1 whole, and then we have 4 tenths, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 2 hundredths. And then in our second one, we don't have any wholes. We have 8 tenths, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 7 hundredths. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Look what happens when we add these together. First, how many ones are there? Well, there were 7, 8, 9, right? 9. Oh, I'm going backwards here. I'm sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. Sorry. How many ones were there? There was 1 1. 1 whole. How many tenths? Let's see here. So how many did we have here? We had 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. We had 12 tenths. And we had 5, 8, 9, wait a minute, 7, that wasn't 5, it was 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 9 hundredths. So here's where it gets tricky. These 12, we can't write 1.129. That just isn't right. So we have to regroup this. We can regroup it into a group of 10 and a group of 2, right? And we'll take this 10 because that's really a whole and move it over to here and that makes 1 plus 1 more whole is 2, right? And then we have this left, 2 and 9, okay? So the answer to 1.42 plus 0.87 is 2 wholes and 29 hundredths. Does that make sense? Well, if we round 1.42, that's 1 whole. And if we round 0.87, that would also become 1 whole, which equals 2. And I would say that 2 and 29 hundredths is roughly equivalent to or congruent to 2 wholes. So yes, this makes sense. Just remember, if you get a group of 10, like we did here, or more, you need to regroup to the next place value over, which leads to our last question. How is adding decimals similar to adding whole numbers? Well, wouldn't it be the same if we added 15 plus 9? Well, 9 plus 5 is 14. We can't do that, right? We take this one and regroup it to the next place value, add 1 there, and we end up with 24. So we can still regroup to the next place value to the left, even when it's in the decimals, okay? That's it for now. Go practice on your own, work with a friend if you wish, and ask me questions if you need to. Thanks, bye guys.